Hi everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the mostly asked Python coding interpretation, that is daily temperatures. So here the task is we need to write a code like that. So there is a array of integers, right? A array will be given which is having integers like this. So we can in Python we can consider a list as a array, right? So here a list of temperatures are given to you as an input. So see here the integers, so all are integers and temperature values, you see. So 73, 74, 75, 71, 69, 72, 76, 73. Some of the temperatures are given and the output should be, yeah, so this is the input. For this, the output should be, what should be the output? So you need to create an array. You need to create an array. So with this particular name I am creating one array A and S with the name. So and in this array you need to store the answer such that how many days it has been taken to get the highest temperature, right? So here on this day the temperature is 73, right? The next day temperature is the 74. How many days we need to wait to get the more hotter temperature? So here for this particular temperature we need to wait 1 day to get the next highest temperature. So here, so there is 1 for this 73, right? You need to store 1 because the next highest temperature is appearing after 1 day, right? We need to wait 1 day and then so 74. So here when we are going to append the answer for this temperature, we need to check. So how many days we need to wait to get more hotter temperature? So then the next day temperature is 75. We need to wait 1 day and then for this day, right? The next day temperature is 71. It is not hotter. 69, it is not hotter. 72, it is not hotter. 76, yes, this temperature is greater than this temperature, but how many days you need to wait? 1, 2, 3, 4. So here you need to append 4. You need to store 4 in the answer array and then check the next temperature. 71, the highest temperature on the next day is, it is not there, and then 72. So here you need to wait 2 days and then next 69. The next temperature is 72. You need to wait 1 day. And for this, the next temperature is 76. You need to wait only 1 day. And then for this temperature, the next upcoming temperature is 73. Right? Are there any upcoming temperatures? No. So then keep it the default value 0. For this last temperature also, it is the end temperature. There are no upcoming temperatures. Right? So this is the result what you need to get. But analytically we can able to solve this, but you have to write a code to get the output from the machine, right? So we will see the output for this particular temperature switch. So same thing here, ANS, and then the temperatures are 30, 40, 50, 60. However, the temperatures are increasing order. However, you need to wait 1 day, you need to wait 1 day, you need to wait 1 day. But for this last temperature, there is no upcoming temperature. By default, the value is 0. And here, write down the output by analyzing it and then. So 30, 60, 90. So the next hotter temperatures will get after 1 day. We will get after 1 day. Okay, for 30 it is 1. For 60 it is 1 day. But for 90 it is 0 because there is no upcoming hotter temperature after 90. Right. So, but how to write a code for this? Right. If you observe the output array or if you observe the output which is answer, here we have some what you call index numbers. Right, there is a interconnection, means there is a relation between index numbers of the input to the output. You observe this. The index number of 73 is 0 and the index number of 74 is 1. So like this I am writing all the index numbers 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. These are the index numbers of the elements in this array. Okay. So we have written in the answer array 1, right? So at this position we have written 1. How we have written 1? So the highest temperature. Please see if you observe, the next highest temperature is appearing after 1 day. So 73 is the first temperature. The next day the temperature is 74. You need to wait 1 day. So but how we got this? So you need to subtract the index number of 74. You observe the index number of 74 is 1 minus the index number of the lowest temperature 0, and this is appended into the result array. And next, here we have appended 4. You consider. So we are comparing the next upcoming temperature with the 74 now. So now what is the index number of 75? 2 minus the index number of 74 is 1. So here this result is appended into this particular array. And then so now 75, right? So then 75 71 is not greater than 75, 69 is also not greater than, 72 is also not greater than, yes, 76 is greater than 75. Now what is the index number of 76? 6, and the index number of 75 is 2. So you have appended the result at this particular position. So like this, we are subtracting the index number of highest temperature from the index number of the lowest temperature to get the resultant array or resultant answer. So how to achieve this? So to achieve this, see here how many number of elements are there in the input array. Those many number of elements should be there in the output array. You observe the length of this temperatures is equivalent with the length of the answers, right? So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 elements are there in the input list, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 elements are there in the output list. See, the length should be same, and the default value is 0. You observe this, the default value is 0. Now create an array, right, with the same size of the input. So now create an array with 8 elements. Okay. Because if you don't have any greater means highest temperatures, then the default will be 0. That's why we are creating a list with the same number of elements that of the input list, right, with the default value 0. So if we found any days, means number of days, then we are going to append that value into this list, not append. So we are going to modify the content, or we are going to modify the value in this answer array. Okay, and then so what you need to do? So here, so we have discussed that we need to do something with the index numbers of the input array, right? So we need to deal with the index numbers. We need to store the index numbers of these elements. Okay, now so what we need to do? So first take the help of an empty array, right? So in this, first of all, you need to append the first comparison should start from the first element. You need to compare the 73 with all elements. After that 74, after that 75, like that. We need to transfer over all the elements in the array to find out how many days it will be taken to get the after date, right? So so first of all, you need to append, or you need to store this index of the first element in the input array. So store index number 0 in the temporary list, right? To store index numbers, we are taking help of this particular list. And after that, so after storing this, so just you get, so by index numbers we can able to fetch this next upcoming temperature from the list, right? So and then, so next we need to compare? We need to compare this 73 with the 74, right? So 74, right? Next upcoming temperature is 74, and the index number of it is 1. So greater than 73, the index number of it is 0. Now, is this condition is true? Yes, the condition is true. Whenever the condition is true, at which place you need to we need to modify the result? At 0 index, you need to modify the result. Here also, in the output array, we have index numbers for each and every element, like same that of the input, right? Okay. But we need to update the answer. We need to update the answer in the answer array or output array. At this index, what I need to modify? I need to modify the result as, so here, so 1 minus 0, that is 1. So now append this result at this particular position. Now instead of 0, what you need to append 1. So you need to modify the element value at 0 index as 1. Okay. Now after that, delete this index. So we not need to store this result because already at this particular index we have updated the result. So no need to do anything with this particular index number. Already it is updated now. So then remove everything. So first value is updated and empty the list also. So for emptying we will use pop. So pop that particular index from the temporary list which is st, and now again it is empty. Again you need to compare this 74 with the 75, right? Next upcoming temperature. Now store the index in the temporary list st, and then after that, so what you need to compare? You need to compare the next upcoming temperature. So 75 is greater than 74. Here you observe the index number of 74 is 2, index number 75 is 2, index number of 74 is 1. So it is true. So when it is true, what we are going to do? We are subtracting the index number 2 with 1, and the result we are going to append at the first index. At which index we need to update? At first index. Then update the value at the first index in the answer array as 1. Right. So task is completed now, and we can able to pop this index from the temporary list. After emptying the list, now append the index number 2. So at index number 2, we wanted to update the value, right? So now with which value we will compare it? With the 71, we need to compare the temperature 75. Now, what is the index number of 71? 3, and the index number of 75 is 2. But in this case, the condition will become false, 71 is not greater than 75, right? So in this case we cannot delete this particular index from the temporary list, right? So instead of this, what we need to do, you need to append the index number 3 also into the temporary list. After appending, and next what you need to take? You need to take 4, right? So now take the index number 4, fourth indexed element 69, and compare it with the 3, right? So compare it with the 3. So in the index number of 71 is 3. So which is also false. So here 69 is not greater than 71. So in this particular case, what you need to do? You need to append the index number 4 into the temporary list. Okay, and then next element is 72. Okay, so 72, the index number is 5, right? And the previous temperature is 79. Now 69, the index number of this 69 is 4. In this case, what will be the result of this condition? 72 greater than 69. Yes, true. No need to append this 5 into the temporary list now. So whenever this condition is true, at which index we are going to update the value? At the 4th index, you need to update the value in the answer list or answer array. Now, how will you get the value? So 5 minus 4, the result is 1. So this one should be updated at which index of the answer list? At 4th index, right? So at 4th index, we have updated the value. Now we can able to delete that 4th index from the temporary list, right? Deleted. Now what we have? So we have this second index and third index left. So now this third indexed element should be compared with the 5. So still the comparison temperature is 72, right? With the index 5. Now with which indexed value we are comparing? With the third indexed value, right? At 4th index already we have updated the value. So what is the temperature that we are comparing now again in the list? Right, that is 71. The index number of the 71 is 3. So now what should we do? Because the condition is becoming true right now. So 5 minus 3. So now the result is 2. So at which index we need to update this result? At the third index. Now go to the third index and update the result here, and the result you need to update as 2. And already we have updated in the third index. Now we can able to delete this index number from the temporary list, right? So what is the next thing we need to compare? So now we need to compare this 72, which is the 5th indexed element from the input list, with the second indexed element. Okay, now what is the second indexed element in the input? That is 75. Okay, which is false. Right. So 72 is not greater than 75. In this situation, what we will do? So we will append this index number into the list. Right. So then after that, so then take the next index element 76, and we need to compare this with the previous indexed element. Right. So now which is 72. Okay. So and then with this we are comparing. Now in this case it will become true. 76 is greater than 72. Now to update the answer you need to subtract the index numbers. So 6 minus 5 1. So at which index you need to update the result? At fifth index you need to update the result. So here the number of days will be 1. Right. So after updating, what we are doing? We are deleting that index from the temporary list. Right. So delete that index, and still it is having one index, that is 2. And the next, take the next element. So what is the next element? 76. Right. So still we are comparing it with the 76. Right. So but what is the index that we are having in this particular list? Second. Right. So what is the second indexed element? 75. Right. So in this case it is true. 76 is greater than 75. But how to update the result? By subtracting this index with the previous index. 6 minus 2, the result is 4. So at which index you need to update the result? At the second index. So at the second index, update the result, that is 4, and delete that index from the temporary list. Now the list is becoming empty. Okay. So what are the left things? That is 76 and 73. However, the 76 index number will also be appended into the list. Right. So now after appending, what we are doing? We will compare it with the next indexed element, that is 7 greater than 76. Right. So which is false. 73 is not greater than 76. False. In this situation, what we are going to do? We are appending this particular index into the temporary list. But we have transferred over all the elements. Okay. So then here, so after this 73 we don't have any next highest temperatures. It means that after 76 there is no highest temperatures, means it is not there, right? So no, what we can say, more temperature value is not there, so that's why the default value is kept. And then for 73 also there are no upcoming highest temperatures, the value will be 0. Right. So this is the logic what you need to implement. For the discussed logic, we are going to implement the code. So whatever the discussion we have, means whatever the logic we have discussed, we need to implement code for it. Okay. So we are going with the user defined function. Okay. Def daily temperatures. I am creating one user defined function. Here I will pass a list. Right. I am specifying one parameter, which is nothing but I am going to pass a list of temperatures as an argument to this function that will get assigned to this particular variable a, or which is parameter. Then after that, so the answer, right? So we have created one answer list which is having equal number of elements that are the input list. So we need to first of all find out length of a and assign it to one variable, and we need to create a list which we are going to store the result. Okay. Now, so here what is the default value? 0, and you can able to multiply it with the n to get that total number of elements which is equivalent to the input list. Here you can able to go with the list comprehension also, right? So and then take an empty list to store the index numbers, right? So after that, we know how many iterations are required, we know priorly, right? So then go with the for loop. For I in range we can take n, because already number of elements are stored in the n, right? So and after that we are checking condition, right? In the logic, when we have discussed about the logic, we have taken every time we are checking some conditions, right? So to check conditions, take a while loop. While length of st greater than 0, whenever the length of st greater than 0, then only we can able to continue, or then only we can able to continue to the next step. Whenever this list is empty without having any index numbers, we cannot able to go forward, right? So whenever that is empty, whenever that list is empty, we need to append that index number into the st, right? So that's why we are taking this condition. And here now we need to check that particular temperatures, right? So and a of I greater than a of length of a of st of length of st minus 1. This is the condition, right? So st of 0 means whatever the index number that is present at 0 index, it will be written here, and a of that index number will give you that particular temperature which you are going to compare. And after that, and whenever this condition is true, what you need to do? So you need to get the index number, and you need to get the answer, and you need to pop that index number from the st, right? So and then to get the index, I am taking a variable index. So at which index you need to update the result? At which index we are going to update the result? At this index. So take it as it is here. Okay. And then at this index number we need to update answer. So here in this particular, what do you know? In this particular array we are going to update answer. So a of index equal to I minus index. So this we are performing, right? So whenever the index numbers are like this, so we found the greatest temperature, for example like this. If the index number of 75 is 0, if the index number of 76 is 1, then we are subtracting 1 minus 0 and we are getting the result. The same thing we are going to perform here, I minus index. And then after this you need to pop that particular index number from the st, and then with the method pop we can able to do that. So pop method will delete the last item from the list. Okay, after popping, so before going to do all these things, we need to append that index number into the st, right? So with the same indentation level of the while, you write st dot append I, right? So and finally, after completing all iterations, what you need to do? You need to return, right? Return ans. So this list will be written. Okay. So this is the code for this particular problem, which is daily temperatures using Python. Then you can call this particular user-defined function with any list which is having temperature values. After implementing the logic, you can call this particular function to get the resultant answer. So now we have this input with the variable temperatures. Now the list of temperatures are stored in the variable temperatures. Now you need to pass this variable as an argument. You need to pass this list as an argument to the function which is daily temperatures we have defined. But this function is returning you the answer, right? So whenever any function is having a return value, to print that particular return value, you need to call this function from the print statement, or it's a print function. From the print function, we need to call this user-defined function. Okay. Now how to call this? So just from the print function called daily temperatures, and you need to pass the argument, right? So what is the argument that you will pass? Just write this temperatures as it is. Yes, pass this variable as an argument to this function and execute your program. The resultant list will be printed.